Gotta keep going, gotta keep trying. There's no point in crying, even on those harder days.
So what do you want to do today, Wes? Seriously?
So at this point, you're so used to seeing me with bad hair that I figured, why bother fix this just to go on camera? I'm trying to live the real life. This is what I do when it is too hot outside to have hair on my neck. Gross. I think it's time that I finally talk about endometriosis a little more in depth. I think I was 23 years old. 23, maybe 24 when I was diagnosed. I was living in Winnipeg, Manitoba at the time, and honestly, I don't even remember how it got down to it, but I had an internal ultrasound done, and that's how I was diagnosed. But I didn't even have a family doctor, so I don't know who referred me, or honestly, I don't even remember what my symptoms were. That darn ADHD just wiped my mind clean. Awesome. I mean, maybe it was the endo. There's such a thing as endo brain fog. But everything causes brain fog. Yeesh. Anyway. The reason I'm pretty sure I was 23 is because I remember that I was single. And honestly, I haven't been single very much in my adult life. So I think I was single for 2 months after I left my first husband. And one of my best friends that I met through the place that I was working at the time drove me to my appointment, and they said to me, so it appears on the scan, which is crazy to me because all of my current scans don't show endometriosis apparently, but it was different doctors looking as well, so maybe the ones that have been looking recently haven't been trained. But anyways, they saw it on the scan, and they basically told me that I should either get pregnant to cure it, or go on birth control. And they didn't tell me anything at all about the disease or what to expect. They didn't tell me that it didn't have a cure. I mean, actually, yeah, they told me to have a baby to cure it. So those doctors were giving me false information, because that's not a cure. Just like a hysterectomy isn't a cure. I'm sure they would have told me that that was too. But anyway, hysterectomy is needed. That's coming up on June 23rd. And it's required because of the damage that's been done. Unfortunately, the damage is so extensive that there's just no saving it. Maybe if I were in a different country and had access to different specialists. The specialist that I have is a specialist in excising endometriosis. So I really trust his hands and his skill. But the knowledge that's available to the doctors where I live is just minimal, and that is just unfortunately so common in many different areas of the world. So I panicked and cried and worried that I would never be able to have children, because I knew that endometriosis could affect fertility. I had just left my marriage and was like, oh great, the longer I wait, the worse my chances are. And now I was newly single. And then I went through a whole another years-long relationship after my divorce, and didn't have a child with that person either. And then just by some miracle, I conceived in December 2016, gave birth to Weston in August of 2017, and ever since the birth of Weston, my endometriosis has been getting worse and worse. Symptoms are coming up that I had never had before, and when it used to be cyclical and it would only affect me when I had my period, it started to become longer periods of flare-ups until eventually my pain was daily. Right now, I'm at the point where my daily pain isn't just minimal, ignorable pain. It is deep-seated, really intense pain that affects what I'm able to do with my day. So in 2018, my symptoms spread to bowel issues and urinary issues, but very much bowel issues. And my grandmother on my mother's side actually died of colon cancer. And so my doctor did a colonoscopy just to rule out anything scary, and found nothing. And so he looked at me and he said, "Is it possible you have endometriosis?" And then that's when I realized that because I didn't have a family doctor when I was diagnosed, it was never put into my file. And so my doctor had no idea that I even had that diagnosis to begin with. So I said, yeah, actually, I received that diagnosis many years ago. And so he sent me to a gynecologist in my small hometown who did a diagnostic laparoscopy in July of 2020. That's how long the wait took from 2018, when I first started having serious issues and addressed it with my family doctor. So July 2020, she did a diagnostic laparoscopy, and she found it, honestly, I don't even remember where she all found it. I know she found it on my ovaries, on my uterus, on my bladder, on my intestines. They found something called chocolate cysts, which is cysts that have been there for a very long time. There was indication that endometriosis had been there for longer than 10 years. They can tell that by the color that it is. Yeah. It's been getting worse even since that laparoscopy last July. And the vaginal and the rectal pain are almost daily. And that really affects my ability to sit and bend and move and bear any weight. Most of what I do is painful. So, surgery. It's coming at a good time. I think it's pretty clear by now that besides excision, they are doing a hysterectomy. But I really want to address the elephant in the room, and that is the partial vaginectomy. A lot of people are saying, I don't even understand what that means. Well, how do I explain it? Basically, the upper 2 centimeters of the vagina will be cut off, and so the cervix and the uterus above it will be removed vaginally, and then it will be stitched shut, and that is called a vaginal cuff. So, elephant in the room being, will this affect intimacy? And my doctor assures me that it will actually improve things, because right now, every single time that I've been intimate in my entire life has been incredibly painful. And so that painful tissue will be gone. That damaged tissue will be gone. So that in itself is going to improve things so much. And he said that the amount of tissue that he needs to remove is not going to affect function. So everything will be working as normal. And the only difference will be I will not have a period. So the next question is, will I go through menopause? Well, maybe, maybe not. Technically, I shouldn't go through menopause if I keep my ovaries. That is up in the air. He may take one ovary, he may take none, he may take both. It's going to depend on the condition of them when he opens me up. But typically, menopause is triggered by the loss of hormones. So either the ovaries stop functioning or they're removed. So if he doesn't remove them, I should still ovulate. I'll still get PMS. I may even still bloat, get cranky, all that beautiful jazz, but I just won't bleed. So, but I mean, I say I just won't bleed, but like, holy moly, I'm excited because oh, I could just sit here and daydream about it all day. It's gonna be great, you guys. It's gonna be great. So the damage that's been done that means that I need to have part of my vagina removed. Well, it's been pitted. There's holes and there's a nodule growing off of my cervix. All of that in that upper vaginal area is just damaged and heavily diseased. I think the concern is that it's cancerous, but we won't know that until they go in and biopsy it. If you don't follow my Instagram page already, you should, because I'm a lot more active on there, and I'm sure I'll be a lot more active on there than I will be on YouTube when I'm recovering from my surgery. Today I made a post about Valerie. This is Valerie. The Valerie is actually the uterus inside me, and this is just the plush representation. I actually decided to name my uterus and give her kind of a personality in my head as a way to help me cope, and it's been actually really therapeutic. And I wrote a letter to Valerie because pretty soon she'll be gone. So if you will, sit down and listen to my letter to Valerie.
Dear Valerie, I'm sorry your time has been cut short. You've worked hard and deserve rest. Thank you for my one healthy baby. The need for this surgery and your removal is not your fault. I'm sorry I didn't fight for you sooner and find the care you needed when we found out we had endo. Thank you most of all for giving up yourself for the sake of my life and well-being. Though it's been hard, your presence has been a blessing. Love, Leslie.
So that's kind of a summary of what I'm going through with endometriosis and with my surgery. I'm really excited to get all this disease out of my body and to just feel like myself. I just want to hopefully show you that your harder days don't have to be your worst days. This surgery is going to be hard, but I mean, wear your hair in a stupid hairstyle. Give your uterus a name and have coffee with her. Do whatever floats your boat. Gotta keep going, gotta keep trying. There's no point in crying, even on those harder days.